When you discover that your friendly neighbor is actually a murderer, every glance feels dangerous. You think you're watching him through your binoculars, but in reality, he might already be watching you. This is the chilling story of summer of '84. Our story takes place in Cape May, Oregon, during the hot summer of 1984. 15-year-old Davy Armstrong is obsessed with conspiracy theories and mysteries. He spends his free time spying on neighbors, convinced that every small town hides secrets. His friends, Woody, the gentle giant, Eats, the wisecracker, and Curtis, the nerd, don't always take him seriously, but they go along for the adventure. One day, the group notices a disturbing headline in the newspaper. A string of teenage boys have gone missing, and soon, police announce that a serial killer, dubbed the Cape May Slayer, is believed to be behind it. That's when Davy starts to suspect that the killer is someone who lives right across the street. Officer Mackey, the neighborhood cop everyone trusts. First, the idea sounds ridiculous. Mackey is polite, friendly, and even coaches Little League. He's the type of guy neighbors greet with a smile. But Davy is convinced that appearances can deceive. When the friends see Mackey at night, hauling large bags into his backyard shed, Davy's paranoia grows. Then he remembers something chilling. One of the missing boys used to do yard work for Mackey. Could the neighborhood cop be hiding a dark secret? The boys decide to investigate. They use walkie-talkies, spyglasses, and late-night stakeouts to keep an eye on Mackey's house. One night, Davy sees Mackey digging in the yard, then loading heavy bags into his car. The next day, Mackey explains he's just clearing soil for gardening. To everyone else, it sounds normal. To Davy, it's more proof. But suspicion isn't enough, they need evidence. Mackey seemed perfectly normal. Davy even dug through his trash, peeked at his mail, and followed his daily routes, yet still came up with nothing. One night, as a teenager was walking down the street, a hand suddenly reached from the shadows and dragged him into the darkness. Davy went to investigate the house of a boy named Sammy, only to unexpectedly run into Nikki, the girl he secretly liked. Nikki told him that Sammy's entire family had actually gone on vacation. That meant Mackey couldn't have been the killer. But Davy still felt uneasy. He secretly planted a walkie-talkie beneath Mackey's window, hoping to eavesdrop on him. That night, when Davy looked through his binoculars at Mackey's house, he froze. Mackey was staring back at him through his own binoculars, and the walkie-talkie had been taped right to the center of the window, like a deliberate taunt. The plan had failed. Instead of spying on Mackey, Davy realized Mackey was watching him. Determined to find another way, Davy noticed a freshly filled hole in Mackey's yard, large enough to bury a body. One evening, while Mackey went jogging, the boys split into two groups. Eats and Curtis followed Mackey, while Davy and Woody stayed behind to dig. After hours of work, they uncovered nothing. Not willing to give up, Curtis pried open Mackey's shed. Inside, they finally struck gold, bloody clothes that belonged to the missing red-haired boy. At the same time, the other group discovered that Mackey stored large quantities of caustic soda, chemicals used to dissolve corpses and cover up the smell. To the boys, it was undeniable. The evidence was clear, the method of murder exposed. They rushed to show everything to the adults, expecting praise. Instead, they were met with harsh scolding. The parents dragged them to Mackey's door to apologize. Mackey welcomed them kindly, acting as if nothing had happened. He explained that the red-haired boy was his nephew, and the bloodstains were from a simple accident at work. If they didn't believe him, they could call and ask. The adults, of course, trusted Mackey completely. Back home, Davy was grounded. His friends grew discouraged too. Maybe their detective game had gone too far. The next day, Mackey himself showed up at Davy's house, pretending to smooth things over. Davy, cautious, insisted that Mackey call his so-called nephew. Mackey dialed, but no one answered. After Mackey left, Davy checked the number. To his shock, it wasn't a nephew's number at all. It was his own house phone. Mackey had lied. There was no nephew. Soon after, the police suddenly announced they had caught the real serial killer, and the hero who caught him was none other than Mackey himself. The timing was far too convenient. Davy's suspicions only deepened. He persuaded his friends to launch one final investigation. While the entire town gathered at the local festival, they put their plan into action. Curtis and Eats stayed behind to keep watch, while Davy and Woody sneaked into Mackey's house, armed with a video camera to record undeniable proof. In the locked basement room, they found a bathtub overflowing with blood. Inside was the decomposing corpse of the red-haired boy. Nearby lay another recently missing teenager. And on the wall, Davy noticed photographs, images of every victim. At the bottom row was his own picture. Mackey had marked him as the next target. The boys escaped with the footage. This time, the police and parents could no longer deny the truth. A warrant was issued immediately, but Mackey wouldn't go down quietly. That night, he broke into Davy's home. Davy and Woody were captured and taken to a remote island on the lake. Mackey had no intention of granting them a quick death. Instead, he released them into the dark woods, beginning a twisted hunt. Terrified, the boys ran. Woody tried to protect Davy, but Mackey caught him, murdering him brutally before Davy's eyes. Then Mackey turned to Davy, not to kill him, but to curse him with something worse. He whispered that he wanted Davy to spend the rest of his life in fear. Every day, Davy would wonder if this was the day Mackey returned to finish what he started. In the end, Mackey disappeared without a trace. Davy returned to the neighborhood, delivering newspapers as if nothing had changed. But inside, everything had. His childhood innocence was gone, replaced by scars that would never heal. And that was summer of '84, a reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters live right next door. If you enjoyed this recap and want more dark and thrilling stories, make sure to like and follow. This is Recap Movie Man, bringing you movie recaps with a twist.